Christmas Eve is supposed to bring peace, warmth, and joyful traditions. But sometimes, the night before Christmas turns cold, dark, and terrifying. These are 3 true stories of Christmas Eve, where something unexplainable broke through the holiday spirit and left fear behind the tinsel. You might never look at Christmas the same again. Every year, our church put together a nativity scene on the lawn that looked like it belonged on a postcard. Wooden figurines, glowing lights, real hay spread around baby Jesus, and sometimes even live actors dressed as the wise men or Mary and Joseph. It was peaceful, kind of beautiful, in a small town way. On Christmas Eve, I volunteered to help set it up before the midnight service. My mom waited in the car, warming up with coffee and holiday music, while I arranged the pieces with the other volunteers. Eventually, most people went inside, but I stayed out just a bit longer to adjust one of the spotlights that kept flickering. That's when I saw him. A man, not a statue, not a volunteer, sitting quietly near the manger. He had a hood pulled over his head and wore a thick winter coat. He wasn't part of the crew, and something about him felt off. I thought maybe he was homeless and just trying to stay warm. I stepped forward and said, "Hey, do you need help?" No response. He didn't flinch or react. Just sat still with his hands in his lap, facing the baby Jesus statue. The way the light flickered made it hard to see his face. I thought maybe he didn't hear me, so I got a little closer. "Hello?" I said again, this time louder. Still nothing. That was when I got a better look at his posture. He wasn't sitting casually or comfortably. He looked like he was praying, almost too still, like frozen. I glanced back at my mom's car. She had the window cracked, eyes on her phone. I looked back, and the man had turned his head slightly, just barely in my direction. Not fully. Just enough that I could tell he had heard me the whole time. I felt a wave of unease roll through me. I stepped back slowly and said, "Okay, well, have a good night." Still no response. I walked briskly back to the car. As soon as I got in, I locked the door. My mom asked if I was okay. I just nodded and told her we should go home. She looked over my shoulder and blinked. "I thought you said someone was sitting there." I turned to look. The man was gone. No footsteps in the snow. No sign anyone had ever been there. Just the same peaceful nativity scene, silent, glowing under the soft lights. I got out and walked back over, confused. I checked around the manger, behind the wooden structures, even behind the nearby bushes. Nothing. But when I looked inside the manger one last time, I saw something sitting at the base of the baby Jesus statue. It was a folded scarf, thick, woolen, and hand-stitched. It hadn't been there before. Attached to it was a note written in neat cursive on faded paper. It simply said, "Thank you for letting me sit one last time." I looked around again, my breath visible in the cold air. Still no one. I brought the scarf home, unsure of what to do. It stayed in our closet for years. No one ever claimed it. To this day, I don't know who he was or how he disappeared so silently. But every Christmas Eve I glance at the nativity scene from a distance, and sometimes I feel like I see someone kneeling there again. Just for a second. Then they're gone. That first one chilled me to the core, but we're just getting started. The next Christmas Eve horror is even stranger. My grandparents live in one of those quiet neighborhoods where everyone knows each other, and the holidays are a big deal. Lights on every roof, glowing reindeer in every yard, and a community potluck every Christmas Eve. But this one Christmas Eve felt different. I was 17, staying with them for winter break. Snow had just started to fall, and we were finishing dinner when the doorbell rang. My granddad opened the door expecting a neighbor, maybe someone bringing over cookies. Instead, we saw a single figure standing on the porch. That wasn't strange by itself, but he wasn't dressed like the usual choir kids from town. He wore an old black overcoat with the collar turned up. His hat was tilted down, shadowing most of his face, and he stood completely still. No book, no song, no sound. Just watching. "Can we help you?" my granddad asked, friendly but firm. The man didn't answer. Then he opened his mouth and began humming, not singing, humming. The tune was slow, low, and unfamiliar. Not Silent Night, not Oh Holy Night. Something darker. It made the air feel colder somehow. "I think you've got the wrong house," my grandma called gently. Still humming, the man took a step forward. I felt the energy shift instantly. My granddad stepped in front of us and closed the storm door, but the man didn't flinch, just kept humming. My grandma turned off the porch light. He was still there. We shut the main door and tried to laugh it off. "It's probably just someone playing a prank," I said, but nobody laughed. I peeked through the blinds. He was gone. Relieved, we went back to cleaning up. A few minutes later, I heard something faint. Still humming. Now from the side window. I looked and there he was again. Closer this time. His face still shadowed, head tilted slightly, as if he was listening to our breathing. I pulled the curtains shut and locked all the windows. My grandparents didn't have a security system, so I stayed up late just to be safe. Midnight came and went. No more humming. I finally drifted off on the living room couch. Around 2:30 a.m., I woke up to something brushing against the outside window, not scratching, more like the soft drag of a coat sleeve. I sat up, looked through the blinds. No one, but there was something else. Taped to the window was a page torn from a music book, faded and yellowed, but clear. Handwritten across the staff lines, "That house used to sing." I pulled the page down and looked around the yard. Nothing but footprints leading away toward the street, one long trail in the snow, straight and slow. The next morning, I showed my grandparents. My granddad stared at the page for a long time. Then he told me something I'd never heard. "This house used to be the center of the caroling route," he said, "back when your mom was a kid. But one year, a singer slipped on the steps, hit his head, and he trailed off. They had canceled caroling at the house after that. We never talked about it, thought it best to move on," my grandma added quietly. The page I found was part of an old caroling book they had used back then. My grandma recognized her own handwriting, but they hadn't seen that book in decades. We still don't know where it came from, or who, or what was humming that forgotten song outside. And just when you think it couldn't get any creepier, this final story might be the one that haunts your Christmas Eve forever. Back when I was in college, I rented a small studio apartment in a quiet part of town. It wasn't much, but it had a tiny balcony, just big enough for a chair and a few plants. That year, I stayed in town for the holidays to save money. My family was out of state, and I figured a calm, solo Christmas Eve with hot cocoa and a good movie wouldn't be so bad. I remember everything about that night. The way the wind rustled the plastic wreath on my front door. The flicker of string lights from the building across the street. Everything felt still, peaceful, until I saw him. It started around 11 p.m. I had just turned off the movie and stepped onto the balcony to take in the cold night air. That's when I noticed a man standing across the street under a flickering street lamp. He wasn't moving, just standing perfectly still. He was wearing a Santa suit, but it looked cheap and faded, like it had been left in storage too long. The thing that stood out the most, though, was his face. He wasn't wearing a Santa beard. He was wearing a Santa mask. The old school kind, made of rubber, with a fixed smile that looked more like a sneer. At first, I thought it was someone's prank, maybe a neighbor being funny, but after 10 minutes, he was still there, not ringing doorbells, not calling out, just watching. I went inside and shut the sliding door. A few minutes later, I peeked out. He was gone. Relieved, I laughed a little to myself. Probably just someone being weird. I brushed my teeth and got ready for bed. But when I turned off the lights, I noticed something strange. A faint red glow coming from the balcony. My heart dropped. I crept over and peeked through the curtains. There, on my balcony chair, sat a small plastic candle, the kind you'd see in a holiday display. It was flickering red, and leaning against it was a rolled-up card, tied with a silver ribbon. I hadn't left my door unlocked. I opened the sliding door slowly, grabbed the candle and card, and shut it again. The card was blank on the outside. Inside, in shaky handwriting, were 4 words. "You've been very good." That was it. I checked every window, every lock. Everything was secure. I didn't sleep. I just sat up on the couch with the lights on until the sun came up. When I finally went outside, the balcony was empty. No footprints in the snow. Nothing on the security camera in the hallway. Just that flickering candle and the eerie card. I threw them both away. A week later, I ran into my downstairs neighbor, an older man named Gary. He asked if I'd seen anything strange lately. I told him about the masked man and the candle. His face went pale. He said, "This is going to sound crazy, but something like that happened in this building 10 years ago. A girl on the 2nd floor came home on Christmas Eve and found a Santa mask on her pillow. No one ever figured out how it got there. The hallway cams showed nothing. Just static during the hour it was placed." He paused, then added, "She moved out the next week, left in the middle of the night. I moved out by New Year's. I never saw the man in the Santa mask again, but I still have dreams about that fixed rubber grin and the card with 4 words that keep echoing in my head. You've been very good." The holidays aren't always merry and bright. Sometimes they're a little too quiet, a little too still, and something might be watching through the wreath on your door. If you made it this far, you're braver than most. Don't forget to like, comment your favorite story, and subscribe for more nightmares. This is Whispers Between Worlds. We upload horror daily.